Hello, sunshines. It's Mo. All right, so I wanted to make another video on how I felt when I discovered that I had endometriosis and just how I felt with all of this pain and all of the symptoms and all of the things that were going on. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so how did I feel? Okay, so in my previous videos, I've talked about my story of how this thing all got started. I went to the hospital like really early in the morning this time last year, around the end of March, and didn't know what was going on. Had severe pain, like 10 out of 10 easy. And they did a bunch of tests, and I went to my doctor, and they did some more tests and all these things. And eventually my doctor was just like, okay, looking at your history and this and that, I think that you have endometriosis. And I'm just like, what is that? I didn't know what endometriosis was before I was diagnosed, and I didn't know what it entailed prior to that. Never met anyone who had endometriosis. And I feel like when it comes to endometriosis and other problems with the pelvic floor or problems with our reproductive organs and stuff like that, it's not commonly talked about. Like you hear about like breast cancer, or you hear about different, just more common, more openly talked about things when it comes to women's health. But I feel like things like endometriosis, where there's chronic pain involved, especially, is not often talked about. So I didn't know what it was. And my doctor, who's great, he explained to me what it was and what it entailed and stuff like that in the different stages, and his thought on what stage I was in and things like that. But there was no way of really confirming that until he went in, had a look around, and I actually had to have surgery to remove an ovarian cyst that I also had, along with all of the things that were going on with endometriosis. But with that, I didn't know what it was previously. So I went on Google, of course, and just typed up, endometriosis. I found out that it's actually pretty common. And it's something I was just looking at all the symptoms, and I'm just like, yep, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. So I was just like, okay, maybe it is this. And of course I did more research about, what does it mean for quality of life and all of these different things in people's stories. And that's actually how I wound up finding the Endometriosis Foundation of America, which does have my my profile and my story, my endo story, on their website. If you want to see that, I will put it down below. So yeah, I didn't know what it was, found out what it was, and I'm just like, okay, maybe that's what it is. But when I looked at just other people's stories, or just feeling pain that was just off the charts, like 7, 8, 9, 10 pain every day while I'm in school, while I'm trying to do all these other things, while I'm trying to stay active and all these things, and in COVID, I was pretty devastated. I was just like, how am I going to live like this? Like, my was just like, how am I supposed to get through my program with this pain, where I feel like when I sit up, I feel like there's knives just jabbing at me in my abdomen? How am I going to study and concentrate when I'm just in so much pain? And so it was hard. It was very hard to swallow. And then looking at some of the other symptoms that are common for women include infertility and difficulty getting pregnant, difficulty conceiving, and difficulty, hearing a child, depending on how severe the case is. And and even after I got the surgery and they confirmed that yes, it is endometriosis, I was in and told me the stage that I was in, stage 4. I was just like even more so devastated because it was just like, this could jeopardize my future. This could jeopardize me having kids and things like that. Like, that was immediately what I was thinking about. And so it was devastating. But I remember praying about this and asking God, like, or just saying that, Lord, I don't know what this is all about. I don't know anything about this diagnosis. I don't know what you have in mind with this. I don't know what you're going to do with this and how you're going to work on my behalf. But I still trust you in this, and I trust that, and I ask that whatever happens, may it be for your glory, and may you use this situation, this trial, this all of it for your glory. And I remember that prayer that I prayed as clear as day, in that whatever, and just the whole intention of it was that use all of me, Lord, to even in this, even through this hard situation, even through all of this pain. Yeah. So, because it wasn't just pain, it was um, pain that was consistent and didn't go away. There was not a medication that I took that would help me with that pain. The best thing I could do was have a heating pad on my stomach and just kind of wait it out. And sometimes it would come and go, but most of the time it was pretty consistent and didn't go anywhere. And I kind of just fought through it and stuff like that. And then another thing that was difficult when it came to this was, so it's chronic pain, right? And you always feel that pain, but other people don't feel that pain. It's not like you have an injury, like you have an injury to your body or something like that on the outside, and people see it and just like, oh, I bet that hurts, or that looks like it hurts, or whatever. So people kind of see it. But with endometriosis and with other chronic pain issues like chronic back pain and stuff like that, they're not things that you can see. So oftentimes I kind of got like, hey, it's not that bad, or kind of like people sometimes minimizing the pain that I was in, or kind of just like, really, are you in that much pain? Kind of questioning, are you really in that much pain? Or are you just, you don't have a high pain tolerance or whatever like that? Like, no, and I wouldn't say that I have a huge pain tolerance or anything like that, but like, what made it, I think, worse for me, like mentally, was people minimizing the pain that I was in and kind of just not really completely believing it, and just kind of minimizing, what I was going through and stuff like that. And in that it was, and at the same time it was scary because I didn't know what it was going to mean for the future and things like that. And I kind of felt like maybe I'm just going to be in pain forever. But I remember that prayer that I prayed, and just even after that, I fasted. I tried to do as much and stay as active as I could. I changed my diet. Like I did everything I could think to do um to change the situation and try to make the pain less severe, but it still remained. And but I still fasted, I still prayed, I still trusted the Lord to heal me and to deliver me from the pain. Um, but initially, it was very much scary. I felt devastated. I felt like my my body was literally attacking me, like feeling like betrayed by my body. Like, how could you do this to me? But and I remember like one of the other things that went on during this time was that, in that I kind of knew something was up, was during my menstrual cycle. Always had heavy bleeding, always had back pain or whatever, but I never felt nauseated or vomiting or anything like that. And when this all got started, that's when I started to feel some of that. And I'm just like, whoa, that is not me. Like, I barely even, puke as it is, So, yeah, it was something that just didn't add up for me. But just everything just changed. Like, everything about my body that I thought I knew and I thought was just like, oh, this is just me. It wasn't. It wasn't. And but I'm glad it wasn't something that was in my head. Like it was actually something wrong. And I'm thankful that I didn't put it off. Like, that day that I was thinking about going to the hospital, wasn't really sure, all that. Like, I, part of me was just like, oh, I'll just wait it out. Maybe I just ate something that I shouldn't have, or something like that. But never have I had this type of pain before. So I should have known, like, this is red flaggy, this is not, normal and stuff like that. But I wasn't thinking that way. And but I'm so glad for my mom. I'm so glad for my boyfriend that encouraged me to go to the doctor and into the emergency room so that they could get it figured out, And so that is how I felt, and just how things went, just thereafter. And, when I had surgery, when it was confirmed, like, this is what you have, I was just like, I felt like in some way the Lord gave me strength, and I was just willing to fight and just continue to, do what the doctor says, and continue to pray and fast about this issue that I was having, and just all of the pain, and just um, managing school in the midst of all of the stuff, and COVID and all these things. Like, it was just so many things going on. So I thank God for it. And I thank God that He has used all of those things, all of those experiences, for me to now even be speaking on here about this, or just, you know, posting a video on for um, the endometriosis awareness month and stuff like that. Like, just things that I would have never even thought I would do. He's allowed me to do through His grace and mercy, through through this through this issue that I was having. So I thank God for that. And remember, let your light shine before men. And amen.